Okay, so I think now it is recording. All right, good, good. Okay, so now I go to share screen. Good. Do you see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, okay, okay. So what I basically want to show, so here is basically a list of LaTeX platform that you can download. So they are all freely available. You can basically download that and then you can use that compiler. So we will be today using this text maker. And I have also just given you the link basically here. So you can just go directly to the link and record the compilers basically. So that's how it works. And most important is also follow this link here, which is actually like a page and a nice guide. With that, you can basically just create your own document. So even what I am basically just telling, partly is basically from that, and this using this overleaf.com, they give you an excellent guide for how to create actually documents in LaTeX. So please follow that. And then after the class, you can basically download one of this platform and then create a 1 or 2 page text and then send it to me to see like, how you could basically just compile a document. So that's a small assignment of the class. Okay, so then, yeah, I think this part is something I'm going to show you later. So now let me share the screen itself. Well, what I want to do is, yeah, so now you can see something here, a compiler and a compiled PDF form you can see on the right side. Do you all see that? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, okay. So this, what I have showed you is basically like a text maker. So that is basically the compiler in which you kind of type your codes. And then once you basically just type the document, you can basically compile it here using this so-called PDF maker. It's called a PDF LaTeX, so that's the compiler they use. But there are many different possible compilers are actually just existing. One could use any of them. Yeah. So like I use typically this PDF LaTeX, so that's what the compiler that I'm using. And then once you compile it, you can basically see your document here. So when you start making a document, so I will basically just start doing a new document, just make a new document. So here in this, the platform already allow you to kind of start making new documents where you can actually just select the type of documents that you want to make. Sorry, just 1 second, new by yeah, so yeah, so in this document 0, so what you always need to do is that you have to define first the class of the document. So what I am basically using is something called an article. You can actually just use a letter, or there are different formats that are available. So you have to use basically one of the document class. So later, when we really make something called an article for a journal or something, you will see that we use here some document class that is defined by the journal itself. Because this document class somehow includes quite a lot of details. I will show you that in the next document, but let me just only tell you that right now the small amount. In the document class, you basically define what should be the size of the font, what should be the margin, what should be the document font that you use. All these things are actually defined in the so-called document class. And for each compiler, there will be an available default class. So I'm using actually a default document class here called article. And then if you want to start a document, the first thing that you have to do is basically you have to begin a document and end a document. So this is basically the most important part. And within this, you can type whatever you want to type, which is actually something that you're going to define. And then you can actually just generate the document. So here I have just written, for example, this is my first document. This example show how to start creating a document. This is the simplest document that you can think of. This is the simplest Yeah, document that you can think of. So it also has actually a spell check option that is actually available here. So you can just see that there is also a spell check option is available. You can also, like, kind of keep changing to what is the right spelling, for example. But there is no grammar correction like in the Grammarly or like in the Office is not available. So therefore you have to be a bit careful with the grammar when you type, because that is something you have to follow in here. Unfortunately, you don't have the option for correcting the grammar, but the spell check is available. So once you basically type your text inside, and then you can basically just do the compiling. So the compiler would basically just do the compiling, and then after processing, it shows the shows that okay, the compiling is finished. And then you can click on this view PDF, and then you see here on the right side you basically have the document compiled, and it shows this is my first document. This example shows how to create a document. This is the simplest way. So like all those text, whatever you have written is basically in here. So now you see that the problem is, like, the document, as you see here, is basically having a blank page, and it has some kind of margin that you do not know how much is, and also some kind of font size which also you do not know much. So that is where you want to actually just have a document which is with more defined what you call it, the document class need to be defined. So I will show you now a little bit more properly. So here you can see here I have another document that I have also just placed, where you, so like, yeah, one more thing. So whenever you add a percentage symbol next to the command line, your this will actually become inactive. So that is something I'm basically just doing. And then once you do that, you can basically just start. So here I have already created another document class, which is again a document class, which is article. But you see here, I have basically kind of defined what is the point size that I want. That means the font size. So this is basically 12 point, and letter paper, A4 paper, like that you can basically define here now. Yeah. And then, so this document is a little bit more detailed. So you can see, like, also in this document, I have actually just defined a document class, which is again article. But on top of that, what I've also just done is that I have defined what is the font size that I want. So you can define the font size here, the type of the paper that you're going to choose, whether you want an A4 size paper or whether you want a letter paper or whatever you want, you can basically define also that here. So that is making your document a little bit more closer to what you want, or something like a more custom defined. Then in LaTeX platform, you have to always use something called packages. These packages are actually like, some commands that actually just is useful in doing some operations. For example, if you want to type in an equation in it, so you need to have actually a package that actually having the input for all the equations, characters, fractions, all those different kind of characters need to be actually like defined, and that uses something called a package. So here I'm using a package which is actually to define the type of letters, which is actually this universal type of font 8. So that is something that you can use for defining the font characters. And then here I am also now defining something called the title of the document. So in this, I have a title for the document. So that you call it like title/title. And then within this parenthesis, whatever you write will be basically the title of the document. Then you can also define something called author. So I have to just write /author. And then within the parenthesis, whatever I am writing is basically called, which will be displayed as the author. So you can also just add something called a footnote. So I'm just adding a footnote thanks to IIT Kanpur. So that will be added as a footnote. And then you can also add something called the date of the document. And so today, November 17, we are basically creating this document. So I'm basically just adding a date. Yeah. So to define this title, author, date, you have seen. So it's basically slash title, slash author, slash date. And within the parenthesis, you can write whatever you want. And that is a thing that is going to be displayed. Now, again, once you finish this, you have to basically just again begin the document and end the document. Once you do that, you can actually just do a command here called make title, because that make title will use this document 0 as the title of your document. Now you can also add something called an abstract of your document, because abstract is something like, a small text that define or a summary of what you're going to write. So to add an abstract, what you also have to do is you can actually begin abstract and end abstract. So this is basically a command line. And then within that begin and end, you can actually just use the text, and that text is going to be displayed for making the abstract of the document. And then after that, you can basically type whatever you want, and that is going to be the main text of the document. Yeah. So this is the main text of the document. Yeah. And then it goes like that. So we can now try to compile here. So now you see I have defined again a document class article. Then I have defined the font. I have defined the paper type. Then I have also defined the type of encoding of the language. Yeah. So that is actually the universal font size. Then the title of the document I have defined an author, I have defined the date of the document, and then I have also just, then I have begin the document, and then I have added an abstract in this document, and then I have basically ended the document. Yeah, so that's it, and then we can compile it. So the compiler is basically compiling it, and then in the view display, now you can see how the document look like. Yeah, so I have now a title. Then I have the author name, and then the star is basically indicating some kind of a footnote, and you can see the footnote is basically added as IIT Kanpur. Yeah. Then the date of the document, and then basically the abstract. So this small part is basically the abstract. You can see that it looks slightly different in font size compared to the main text. Yeah. So that is basically it. So you can add more here. Can add more here. Yeah, so you can see like the spelling is basically being checked, and you can also add more here. You can add more here. Yeah, so like capital whatever. So and then you compile again, and then you see view, and you can see like things are added. So basically now in the abstract or in the main text, you can add basically more and more part to the document. So that's how you actually just write the very, very simple document, which is having a title, yeah, author name, date, then an abstract, and then a main text. So this is how you basically do the simple document. Now, after this, I'm going to open actually a little bit more complex. So we'll also basically check this. So like I have told you, we can change the font size now. So I compile with another font size, and then you see like the document is now recreated with overall font size being 10. So this will be 10, and proportionally this will be a little smaller, and proportionally these things will be slightly bigger. Yeah, so that's kind of defining the title, authors, and things like that. Yeah, and then here we can actually just call it A4 paper, I think. A4 paper. Yeah, you see like now I have changed basically the paper into an A4 type paper. So this is something that you can basically just change here. So this is of course a simple document till. So now I'm going to show you a rather complex document. But while we're doing, let me also just open something called this guide, because this guide is also very important for me. Yeah. So do you see now my internet page? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, okay, wonderful, wonderful. Yeah. So this is basically the overlay. That's a guide, a perfect guide, I would say. So many journal groups are also basically using this for creating or adding their document class. So please follow this documentation. They have actually just given an excellent guide in creating basically the LaTeX documents. Yeah. So you can see like how to create. The basic rules are here and more complex rules are basically, yeah. So now let me just go again to another document, which is a little bit more complex that I have created. Yeah. Document 1. Yeah, okay. So I am also going to share these two documents to you so that you can basically just, use that as a platform to work, and also a guide for you. Good, good, good. Yeah. So like in this document, now what you see here is again that like a lot of hidden text is basically just given here. It's actually because of the percentage sign. And this is basically some details that you can actually just use for understanding. So this is just some guide basically. Yeah. So that's why it is hidden. And now you again kind of use this document class. So now I'm going to create a document that is a um, bit more complex and more dedicated document. So now we have again a document class, and that document class is article basically. And then I'm actually again using 10 point. Then I'm actually just using the same use package, this UTF for the character encoding or the text encoding. And then after that, you can see basically that I have added one more package here. This package is basically something called a use package geometry. That package is basically used for making the page dimensions separately or more complex page dimensions. Yeah. So you can see now here that I have used the use package geometry, and in the geometry I have defined that the paper should be A4 paper. Yeah. So this is a slightly different style that I'm using. And then here, depending on what paper type or paper geometry that you are using, you can basically just different type of paper. So you can create any size. Now, okay, so this we are going to come back. So once I define this, I'm going to basically now directly go to the document part. Yeah, so again here, so title, yeah, I'm just giving the title as an article, then author name. And then here you can basically again, you can basically see like if I'm not using the date definition here, if I'm using this date definition and then I keep it blank, then of course when you create the document, it will not actually just add a date. You see this here? But if I am basically just not using this and keep it inactive, then what it does is basically it creates the date automatically. It will add the date automatically. Then I am just starting the document again. So you have a begin document, and in this case, I have added a lot of things. Therefore, the end document is basically at the very end of the document. So that is actually after several pages. Now, so that you believe me, that is there. The end document is there, because if you have begin document or if you begin something, you need to always end something. So that therefore it is like in your coding. So you started begin document, the end document is there, and then you also just ask the compiler to make a title, and the title is already given here. So you make sure the title is given there. Then, like you have seen in the previous document, we also have an abstract beginning and the end of an abstract. Yeah. But now in this document, what I do is a little bit more detailed paper. So let's say like in this article, I would like to write many different things. And I also want to have sections, for example. So if you want to add a section, you can actually slash section, and then whatever you write within this parenthesis will be actually just written as the first section. So you can already see that I have compiled this document, and once you see this document, you see I have the article title, then I have the author name, I have the date, then the abstract is also given here. And after abstract, you can basically see that I have the first section. Yeah, so that defines the first section, for example. Yeah, so that is something what I have given here. So within the first section, you can basically just type what you want. So you can type your main text here. And now, depending, so now this text, you can see it is a simple normal text. So you can type your text here. You see like the display is basically a normal text. But now if you want to make your text bold font, so you can again use another command here called text bf. That means /text bold font. And everything that you put within this parenthesis will basically be displayed as a bold text. Yeah, so that's what you can see here in the compiler. So I am just adding more text for your to show you. So you can see here now in the compiler. So the compiler also marks where you have made the change. So my text is bold and adding more text. So that is in bold. So everything that you write outside the compiler, yeah. So that is not going to be displayed. That is not going to be displayed as it's only going to be displayed as normal text. So that means like while you are typing your text, see like here, I am typing my text like that. And while I am reading the text, you can see that, okay, you can type your text here and immediately you see that a small portion is basically becoming bold. That's because you have actually just given this part to be in a parenthesis with the command text bold font. So then of course you get that text to be in this one. Now, normally when you type, it doesn't matter how much space you give here. So like even if you give a large space here, the compiler finally would just make the text to be displayed just with one standard space. Yeah, so it doesn't matter in the compiler whether you actually need to be careful about the space you given or whatever. And if you're actually just typing the text like this, it will never actually just make a paragraph. It will be a continuous text. Only when you put a space here, it will create a new paragraph, for example. So now you can see it actually created a new paragraph. Yeah. Or if you want to basically just still have the same text to be displayed in a different line, then what you all need to do is you can actually just put this upward / 2 times, then you compile it, and then it will basically move the text after this double slash to be on a new line. Yeah, so this represents basically new line to be started. Okay. So now, even if I type in the compiler, everything continues. If I put 2 slash here, upward slash, then, so not upward, yeah, exactly. Then it would basically just put everything in a new line. Yeah, so that's how you do it. Now, after this, see, I want to make actually a small part of the text to be in italic. So what you have to do is you have to just basically use text slanted. Yeah, SL means slanted. Then everything you put it in parentheses, and then you basically would create that as an italic text. You see here, my text is actually italics. So I'm actually just doing this double slash here is just all to actually just create a new line for a better display. So now, so for normally doing all this thing, what I have shown here, you have to only define the standard package like I have told you. So I have told you, so this normal standard package would include everything that you have seen now. But now you see what I'm trying to do in this here is I'm just going to add actually some color to the text. Yeah. You see here now I've actually just made a small piece of text in red color, text in blue color. So all you need to do is you have to just use a command called text color red. So the first parenthesis defines the color that you want to put, and the next parenthesis basically defines the text line that has to be changed to color. So I have actually just given 2 guides. But now the point is, if you want to do these kind of things, you have to actually have some packages. Yeah. So you already see I have added those packages. I have added these packages. yeah, so here, you see here I've added a package. So before you start your text, you can add actually like, many different type of packages, and each packages would basically just help you in creating different type of or creating interesting things within the text. So for example, here, if you use this package called use package X color, this is actually something for coloring the text. This is important. If you don't have this package, so then the compiler would basically just ask you to download this from some source. So you have to basically download these kind of thing. It is actually available in internet source, or even in the overleaf. You can go in the overleaf and they will actually just guide you where to find such kind of packages. So you need to download the packages into your computer, so that every time you do this, it would basically create this. Yeah. So similarly, you can see here I have many different kind of packages that I have already downloaded. Something called use package book tabs. That's actually for making tables, or like, use package array, that is actually for making mathematical equations. Yeah. Or much more complex things you can basically download depending on what you want to do. Yeah. Yeah, so now go here. So that is the most important thing. So you have to actually have different type of packages you need to have for making basically the different requirement for the document. So that's something you need to be aware of. That's why you please use the guide. Yeah. So now I have actually just used these two commands, yeah, to make the text blue and red, and then you can see in the display, you see that the text is basically now colored. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. See, so the UK English has been used. Yeah. And then you display it, and then you see like it is now changed. Yeah. So now I can also add a highlighting box. Yeah. Box of color. So you have to basically use another command called color box, and then the first parenthesis is defining the box color. Yeah. The color of the highlighting part, and the next parenthesis basically use the text that is going to be changed. Yeah. So then you can see in the first section, basically I have used a normal text writing. If within that, I have actually just made some text to be like in bold, some text to be in italic, some text to be in colored. And this is typically what you need in creating good documents, right? And this is, with this, you get quite a lot of things. Now, yeah, so now I can add actually a new section. Yeah, so like I've added a new section, which is just second section, or you can name what section it is. Yeah, another section that will actually be displayed. See, the second section is another section. Yeah, and then you can actually just add more sections inside. Now, within each section, you can basically create something called subsections. Yeah. And that will be actually just called a subsection / subsection. And then within the parenthesis, you actually just add the subsection name. So here it is actually subsection 1, whatever. I'm just like, adding something for you to visualize it. And then you see like I've added a subsection. And now you see something interesting. The article or the compiler itself created basically something called a section 2, and the next one is basically 2.1. So if you would add something like here another subsection, yeah, so I have already added here another subsection here. So that means within this section, if you add n number of times the so-called / subsection, then it will keep on creating 2.1, 2.2, 2.3 like that. You can basically create enough subsections as you want. Yeah, so that is how you can basically use this platform to create nicely, like, your different subsections within the sections and so on. Now, what I want to do is, I want to basically just add some symbols while I am writing. Yeah.
Sir.
Yes, please.
Sir, how do we create another subsection inside the subsections? Is it possible?
That's what I said. So you basically just copy paste this one. Let's say somewhere here, I want to add. So that means you remember I have this section, and then every subsection that I create here. So subsection 3, let's say something I call it. Then when I create it, you can display here. So it actually created something called 2.2. So now, unless and until I actually just create a new section, yeah. So here you can see here I've created a new section, for example. Within the new section, or within this first section, everything that you create will actually be continuously numbered as 2.1, 2.2, 2.3, 2.4 like that. Yeah, until the program see the next command, which is actually here you can see another section is created. So here you can see another section is created, which is actually the third section.
So
Understand?
like what if we want 2.1.1, like within the subsection I need another subsection?
Yeah, that also you can create. So that will be actually called as a subsection. Yeah.
So we can create any number of subsections.
Any number of subsections you can create. Yes, 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 you are right. See, I think some compilers, like the compiler that I am using here, which is actually this text maker, also allows you to do this. Do you see that while I was typing, it actually just gave me the option of
Yes,
adding. Yeah, yeah. So that's actually also useful. So then you now compile it and you go, and then you can see here I have created 2.1.1.
okay.
Yeah. Okay. So like that, you can create infinite number of subsections.
Yes, sir, thanks.
I recommend this text maker, which is actually good because it allows you to kind of, for a beginner, it's good because it also gives you the command. And also on the left side of the compiler here, you can see, I will show you that later. Let me just go in the conventional way. Okay. So now what I'm going to create within this subsection, I'm going to actually just add some symbols. So if you want to add any symbols like, like alpha, beta, gamma, whatever you want to add, you have to basically just look at this here. You have to do something called insert. Insert is actually given by these $2 symbols. You add $2 symbols means you're going to insert something. And then you can go here and add an upward slash and then say alpha. Yeah, you can see like already this program is giving me the idea. So you can even click that and then it will come. So then you compile it. You see already that I have created alpha here. So like I'm just putting this double line to separate the lines. So you can see here, I have actually just created this alpha inside. Yeah. So whenever you want to create such characters, so such things, you can basically do that. So for example, if I want to add an approximate symbol, so you actually again insert upward slash, then you can say like approx. You see this? It is known as approx. So in the guide, let me just go again to this leaf here. So here in this section called mathematical expressions, I think in the mathematical expressions, you find basically, just sorry for that. Mathematical modes. Mathematical expressions. Operators. Yeah, I think you can see here almost like, it gives you the option in this so-called mathematics mode that how to insert basically different type of symbols and how to create basically superscript, downscript, all those things basically are listed in this page here. Yeah. You can even add different languages, for example, like, operators. If you click, it will basically just give you like, so the correct operations. See, all these things you can create. I will show you anyway, but I was just thinking that there may be also like, or maybe, here, Greek in languages, sorry, it was in Greek. So in language, the thing you need to make sure that you, normally the use package UTF-8 should work. But additionally, if it doesn't work, you have to also use something called use package Greek Babel. That is actually another package where all these different type of languages are actually included. So you can even type basically things inside. Yeah. All right. Good. So now going back to your document. going back to your document. So like that, you can basically create as many different type of symbols as you want. You can see here I have like phi, I have beta, gamma, rho, all those things. You can see everything is there. Yeah. But now something interesting that I want to show you is like if you want to insert delta, you know that it actually can be just written using the small delta and also like the big delta. Yeah. You see here the small delta and also big delta. So for the big delta, what you all need to do is you make the capital letter to be, the first letter to be capital, and then you can actually just create a big delta. Yeah, so this is typically that what you need for creating equations and things like that. So you can basically create, yeah, or you can actually just insert something like psi, yeah. So remember to put this slash here, so then you can actually just compile it, and then you see the capital psi is there. So if you would have used actually the small psi, then it will give you the small psi. So you can see here the small psi. I'll just add two line separator here so that it will be displayed in the next line. So you can see here, this is actually like a small psi, yeah, and then you put the capital P here, and then you get the large psi. So that is how you can basically create. So now you have basically different type of symbols, yeah, different type of characters that you can actually like use while you are writing your text. Yeah? So the guide to all these different type of characters, you can basically just use almost everything. A few interesting things. Yeah, okay. So those things are actually also available in normal internet. I mean, Google search, if you just give, you will directly get nice guides for actually just getting all the symbols. But normally, like, you know, here in this compiler particularly, I think in this compiler, I'm just emphasis, italics, bold, tiny, small reference, part chapter. Yeah, somewhere I think it also has actually in this line, bold, italic, I think. I can't find it. Yeah. But normally in this one, you also can actually just get the direct, this one for different type of symbols. So let me just like, you know, try to do something like you see here when I just typed in, so it actually just gives me many different possibilities. See, like infinity I wanted. Yeah, so like that infinity is actually known as infinity. So you just use that. So this compiler basically allow you to or already have a good guide within it itself. So that is maybe probably useful for you to start with. So you see, I have now the infinity. So like that, any symbol can actually be created within that. So that's the main point. Okay. So now also while typing, what you need is basically something called subscript and superscript. Yeah. So that is also something useful. So here I want to basically just write water molecule, H2O. So then I want to have my 2 to be actually a subscript. So how I do that, it's basically very simple. So you kind of write the H2O. So this will not work here. Yeah. So therefore 2 is the one you basically want to put as a subscript. So what you do is here you basically just insert something, and in the insert you upward slash and then underscore, then you put a parenthesis and then put what you want to do here. Yeah. You can now see I have actually just added an insert. Yeah, I have added an insert. Then I have basically just added a slash here, then underscore, then parenthesis, and now I can type whatever I want, 2 or more. Yeah, everything will basically be just displayed that as a as a subscript. You can see here. I should not have used the space because the space is making it. Yeah, so you can see here everything is. Yeah, I don't need this the slash. I only need to put the underscore, I think. Now you can see here now. Yeah. So you see here H2 or more, whatever you put within this parenthesis, you're basically going to write it as a subscript. Yeah. So that's the point. So you need the parenthesis if you have more than one character. If you have only one character, you can even simply just write without the parenthesis. It will directly take the first letter. You see the first letter will be definitely taken, but if you add a few more letters to two, then you will see that only the first letter is taken as the subscript and everything else is actually just taken as a normal text. So therefore, if you want to make sure that you have more characters to be subscripted, then you have to actually just have this parenthesis. Yeah. So that's how you do it. Or if you want to now, let's say, create something as a superscript. Yeah. So I want to just write here the mass of chlorine. So then you just use this symbol here. It is basically to show that something is going upward, but you cannot just do it like that. You have to put first insert, then you have to, like, the symbol for the superscript that is actually available on your keyboard. Then you have to put the parenthesis and then add something here. Yeah. So add, and then that part will basically be displayed as a superscript. Yeah. So that's how it is basically done. So if you want to add, for example, a charge into your molecule or something like that, HCl, I want to say that there is a charge there. Yeah. Then, so I want to add a charge here. Yeah, so you see like HCl plus. Yeah, so something like that. So this is not very possible chemical anyway, but I'm just showing you. So you can basically display things like this by writing the superscript and subscript. Yeah, so that's how you do it. Now, yeah, I mean, similarly, you can also just write, see, like, 0 degrees Celsius. You also just write for the degree Celsius, you can basically use this symbol, and there is something you can insert here called the circ that actually represent 0, or you can basically, like, just put a 0 here, and that will also just do the job. You see here, but you see, this is actually not, this is a 0 and not an O. So that is why you normally, it's better to actually just add something called insert after the superscript symbol. You add circ, and then you can basically just add the 0 up there. Yeah. Or here, if I want to basically just add something like alpha or whatever, you can basically just add that. Yeah. You see here. So like that you can basically do. Okay. Circ, and like that. So then I have basically just added here angstrom. For angstrom, interesting thing is that you don't need basically to add any insert symbol. You can actually just use the slash and then 2/8. That will give me an angstrom. So nanometer is nanometer, and here I've added mu meter. That means micrometer. For that, I need basically an insert slash mu, that is my mu, and then m, and that will give me like a mu meter, or units of distances. I've just written a small text like that. Then, if you want to, for example, add like percentage. So the problem is, like, the moment you add percentage, then you see everything after that would actually become inactive. So to ensure that doesn't happen, then you have to actually just add an upward slash and then put the percentage, then it will be fine, and then you can actually display the percentage. Yeah, so like that. Okay, so like that you can now mostly create, yeah, a document which has different font size, different different color, different style, italics, whatever, and then you can also basically just create symbols, like, create different characters. You can write superscript, subscripts, you can write different units, all those things you can display. So typically this would ensure that you can kind of write mostly everything that you need. Now, for while you write, because we also like often write something called equations in the within the text. So then you can also just do something like this called add an equation. So if you want to add an equation, see, like again, I've started a subsection somehow, and then I'm going to add an equation. So if you want to add an equation, so what you can always do is you can basically, I mean, if it is just an equation that you want to write within the line, you can basically just put an insert and say, like, E is equal to H, and then if you want to write new, you put a slash and then you say new. Yeah, so that actually would directly display. So you can see, like, I have directly written within that. But if I want to write a proper equation, like you see here, that I have like y is equal to mx plus c, or y is equal to some integral 1 by x dx, whatever. So if I want to do that, then what I have to all do is, like, I have to do something called begin an equation. Yeah, so begin, and then you can see this, this actually gives you a kind of list. So you can actually just choose here, begin an equation, and then it will also automatically add an end equation. So now you don't need to put any insert inside. You can directly write whatever you want. So you can just write, like, y is equal to, yeah, so I'm just saying, like, infinity. So if you are actually inserting different type of characters within, you just use the slash and then say, like, infinity. Yeah, so that just like to put no, not infinity, like integral, or I just, or I want to use, like, let's say, like, I want to put, let's say, a fraction. Yeah, so if you want to put a fraction, you have this option, frac double brackets, and the both brackets are actually would display something up and down. So, like, 1, and then here below I'm just going to write 2 pi, something like this. Yeah, so it will display basically y is equal to 1 by 2 pi, and then I can, like, insert a square root. Yeah, you see a square root, then I can just say, like, k by mu. So then you display, you see now the, oops, I did a mistake. Yeah, this is anyway good. So, like, if you are using the square root, it will give you two options, square root. You see, I have two options given, basically one option where I can also, like, define which square root I am just looking at, or I can also just choose this option, which is only then writing directly the square root part. But, like, within the square root, if I want to create a fraction, so I can also just do that, fraction, and then you go ahead like this, and then I'll say, like, k above, and then mu here, and then you display, it will basically just do something like this. Yeah, so this I'm going to just put it like 3 root or something, so you can basically just see the difference. So, like, depending on what you are actually just going to write it. Oh, why is this? Okay, I have not inserted, so it is basically, you see, I have just now y is equal to 1 by 2 pi root of k by mu, and this is basically coming from this other one. So here you can also just put a percentage, and then that part will not be displayed. You see, like, that part is hidden because I've just used a percentage there. So you can basically just create different styled equations, like any huge equation, any big equations you can create. You can also, like, add matrices inside. You can add bigger equations, integrations, differentiation, whatever you want. It doesn't matter. You can actually just create. So I have actually added a couple of examples here for you so that you can basically just use. Now, the interesting thing is, while you are actually just typing your equations, you can also just here add something called label this equation. Yeah. So if you would just give a command to label this equation, then what it basically does is, this particular equation, you can see it has a number already assigned automatically, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, that will be assigned in a sequential manner throughout the thing. If you don't want to add a number, you basically just here slash no number, and then it will basically add no number to that particular equation. Now we can see, oops, why is that? That's because I've actually just added that after the percentage. So you have to add it before the percentage, and then you can see, oops, no number. Ah, no, no number. I don't know, normally it should take it, but it's not taking it. I don't know. Well, I don't know why it's not doing it. So normally I think no number should actually work. Yeah, anyways. Yeah, so you can actually add a command like no number. So then that particular equation will have no number. But now you have actually just see that the equations are actually listed with a particular number. So now if you add a label here, that means somewhere else in the text, if you want to refer that equation. So for example, here you see in the text, I want now to refer the equation. Refer here equation, then you put something called reference, and then in parenthesis, you actually use the same name as what you have actually just labeled here. Then you will see that that particular equation will be referred here. You can see here, refer here equation 3. Yeah. Now the thing is, when you now use this PDF later, and if you click, then you will see there will be a hyperlink in this particular part. And then if you click on it, it will basically directly go to this equation. So it is useful when you write big text, you can basically use this something called labeling figure, labeling equation, labeling table is actually possible. Then during the bigger text writing, you can basically just refer those things later, and then you can actually just use a hyperlink to come back to that particular point. Yeah. So then I told you can also write equations while you are making the text. You can basically write it. You can even just display more complex equation even while you write. But then all you need to do is you have to insert this double dollar, and then you can actually just write the equation. So that's how it goes. Well, are there some questions till now? Okay. If not, then I will just show you how to add a figure. So let's say now while I am writing, I would like to add a figure inside the text. So when you do that, see, like I have now started a new section. So I want to add a figure here. So when you add a figure, you basically need to add the figure by adding something again called begin figure and end figure. So once you do this, then this command will basically be just dedicated to adding a figure part, because the figure itself would contain something called including a graphics. Yeah. And the width of the graphic you can basically define in also standard units, or you can also just define it in terms of the percentage or whatever way you want. Then you have to actually just give the command of the name of the particular figure. And this figure that you want to insert should basically be in a folder, the so-called working folder. See, this is my working folder in which I have my document 1. Yeah, so the text file. And in this, you can see like I've added a figure. This is actually the figure. And you can see this figure is basically this particular one. And that has to be added there. And that particular name with the type of file you have to basically add here. So you see, like when you start a begin figure, yeah, then you need to include a graphic, and in that command you have to define the width of the graphic, and then you have to add actually the name of the graphic. Now the interesting thing is actually that within this I can also now something like add a caption for figure 1, yeah, and that caption is actually something which you can put within a parenthesis. You can add actually the entire description of the figure. So usually when you write scientific articles, it is always a good idea to describe the figure instead of just like, saying that this is figure 1 or something like that. So normally it is better to add a nice caption, and that caption should explain basically each branches, because this particular figure, as you see, it has 3 branches A, B, C. That is more a good technical writing. In that you will have different branches, and each branches you can see are nicely labeled in this. So I have, for example, written, so this is just a little text that I have written, nothing relevant to the figure, but here you can see I have written DFT optimized ball and stick model of PABA. That's actually a name of a molecule which is abbreviated. That is this one here, and then you say, like, it's a constant current STM topography that is given here. Then you write the technical details. All those details you should actually be adding in the caption, which is very useful for actually a nice scientific article writing, because people appreciate if your caption is good, because even when they are not reading the entire article, people can go just within the caption and see and understand what actually is actually going on within the figure. So that I have done. And then finally, I have also just added a label to this figure. Yeah. So now you see that once I actually just do this, and then when I compile, I would basically just get this details to be displayed here. You can see here, the figure is basically within the third section, and then the figure is inserted and the caption is also inserted. Now, of course, you can actually just align this figure to the left, right, or to the center, depending on how you define it. So here, by default in this document, it is actually just aligned to the left. But if I would add a command, additional command, then you will see that, like, begin center and end center, then this figure would basically be displayed at the center of the text. So like that, you can basically play with. And that is the reason why you remember that we have actually just added a package here. You can see, like, here, this package called use package graphic X would allow you to do all this nice techniques within that so-called begin figure and end figure. Yeah. So that is why when you write an article, you need to have enough packages that will actually help you in doing different components to be treated properly within the document. Okay. So now I am here. So like now I have also just given a label so that later sometime I can actually just label or cite this figure. Yeah. Yes.
Sir, how can I add text to the side of the image? I mean, to the right side of the image if the image is on the left side.
Yeah, that's also possible. So I think here I should be also able to do something called right alignment. Yeah, okay, so that is not allowed in this package. So I think I need to actually just add a different package for that. We can also check here. It's somehow called, yeah, align, maybe align. No, I think that's not right. Okay, so I'll just show you that here. Let me just put to the center. Okay, so here is the center. So I think I don't know that one. So you can basically just go to our guide here. So this inserting image, there you can basically see positioning. Do you see this? Hello, Suresh?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, okay.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Yeah. So basically, like, you can kind of, follow this. That is also what I also do typically. So there it actually just give you the help in making the figure to basically go around the page. So here we can see it is centering, and then you have something for making the figure to be floated within the text. Do you see here? So it's like a wrap figure.
Okay.
Yeah, so like that. So you can basically use those kind of commands for basically just moving the figure around. So that is why I want you to actually just follow this strictly. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Sure.
And
Uh,
Yes.
yeah, it will also have options for bulleting as well, like those kind of format options.
Yes. Anyway, I'm going to show you later. The bulletin
Okay.
is definitely there. That's called itemize. That I'm going to come in the next one.
So,
Yeah. Yes.
like if I have three images, then how am I supposed to position side by side instead of one, like one below the other?
I can do that. See, I'm going to insert uh, one more figure directly here. Yeah. So that means I'm going to insert the same figure 2 times. Then what it does is, you see, like it actually insert as many as you want.
Okay.
You understand? So that is also possible. Yeah.
Yes.
So, I mean, what normally I do is actually I kind of create this kind of complex figure in a different program and I make one single figure. But let's say if you have like, different figures as separate files, and then you can also just do this kind of alignment like this, which is also,
Okay, sir.
yeah. Okay. So please refer to that overleaf in there you get actually much more option. Yeah. Then yeah, so that's basically typically that what I want to talk about this. But then there is also like some small option here I want to add here is that whether I want to have the figure to be at the top of the page, bottom of the page, or where it is. So here if I would use like bottom of the page, beast exclamation, then you see the figure actually moved a little bit to the bottom. Do you see that? Yeah. Or if I would use the top, then you would find that the figure is actually just moved to the top of the image of the page. Like that, you can also just do that. So that is also shown here. So you can clearly follow those kind of commands here. Yeah. And then also the positioning is here. And then what I also want to quickly show you is actually the dimension. So if I want to put like, one figure to be like, some 30 millimeter, and then you can also just do that, So like that, you can actually do the adjustment right while you are actually inserting more figures. So that's how you do it. Good. So now that is the section. And then I want to now, okay, so let me just put it to the H1. That means wherever it is. Yeah. So it would basically just add where it is. Yeah. Now you might have also just noticed that I have used here a command called clear page. If I would not have used this clear page, then this document would have continued where I stopped the last part. Yeah. But of course, since this figure is actually too big, it actually moved to the other page. But if you use actually a clear page command, it is like inserting a new page. Yeah, so then what happens is basically that the new page would actually start completely in a fresh page. Yeah, so something like that. Now I'm using again a clear page. That means I'm starting a new section now here in this a new section called fourth section. There, I just want to show you how quickly to add a table. For adding a table, you need something called begin table. Yeah. And then you can actually use this so-called begin centering. That's actually to put the position. And then you need to begin something called a tabular. So the tabular is basically just giving, is actually kind of metric mode. So to basically like, put things in the right position. So you need to basically, within this tabular, you need to actually just have another parenthesis and you need to add C, which represent that this table is going to have 4 columns basically. Yeah. Now, once you define that 4 columns, then your table is going to be displayed with 4 columns. Now, whatever text that you want to add within these 4 columns, you can basically just as a next fresh line, you can add like, header 1, and each of this column content, yeah, or the box content can actually be separated by this symbol called and. Yeah, I think you can see it here. So it is actually an and symbol on your keyboard. And then you can see like header 1 and header 2 and header 3 and header 4, and then you put this double slash, which is representing that it has to go to a new line. So now you can see within the display, it has actually header 1, header 2, header 3, header 4. Yeah. Or you can actually also just like, you know, it doesn't matter, header -3, yeah, whatever. So just something I'm just typing, and then you look here. So it is basically displayed. Now the next line is actually this. So you can actually just add infinite number of rows now below. So you have to only define in the tabular how many columns you need. So that is already defined here 4 times. And then the lines, how many lines you want, you can simply keep on adding. So you can see here, I have added like, you know, something like 1 and 5 and 9 and 23 and this is basically the content, and that is added and separated by this double slash that makes sure that it is a new line. So then another double slash, and then again I have like 4 components that actually is displayed here. Yeah. Now if you want to add more, you keep adding this here. Yeah. So you can actually say like, you know, I've added another one, 5, 10, 15, 99, and then you just display, and then you finally get the another column. So like that, you can actually add any number of columns as you want. So I'm just going to display it one more time. So you copy paste, and then you see the table is basically increasing. Yeah, so that will be nicely added. Now the point is like this column, this box looks, a table looks simple. So if you want to now add some lines and things like that, what you all need to do is basically that you can just say here slash h line, that means horizontal line, and then if you display, it will show add a line that actually between this. So that is also usually good because you can then separate the headers and the components. Or if you want to actually just add a line on the top of the table, so then you actually just add at the correct positions like this, then it will actually just add a thing on the top. So like that, for every column and row, if you want to have like, you know, these kind of lines at the bottom, then you can basically just add this, and then it will basically keep on adding. Let me just, you have to do this, and then you can actually display. So you will get basically lines for this. Now, if you, the interesting thing is that if you want to add basically the vertical lines, what you all need to do is you have to just add here. There is in your computer just above the upward slash, there is something like this. Do you see what I did? Yeah, this here. This is actually within the compute, within the keyboard. There is actually, it is just on shift you get above the upward slash. So if you do this, you will actually just get 2 lines on the left and right. You see this, left and right. And if I would add those things everywhere, then the space is unimportant here. It's only for my display part. Then you will see that actually it will add lines everywhere. Yeah, so that's how you can display it basically. Or for example, if you want to kind of like, you know, separate the header from this one, you can add another command called this here, to ex, and that would basically just add some space between the header and this one. Or you can actually just make that bigger by adding this component thing. So then you basically just make it bigger and bigger. Yeah. So, and then if you want to add actually like 2 lines on the left and 2 lines on the right, you can basically just do this. Yeah. So you see like 2 lines added. And if I want to have like 2 horizontal lines here, I can just do this. And then you get 2 horizontal lines in between. So like that, you can basically just make more beautiful tables. And I have here a table which is more beautiful, or like, yeah, I have here also like another table I've prepared with more display styles. You see, like you can create tables in many different ways. And if you want to add, for example, something which is in color, then you have to add basically the text color. You remember text color, red, and then you have to basically just put that particular content. Is it text color? Then you see just that one part is actually just changed to a color, or things like that. So you can basically just do these kind of beautification of the table by just doing this green, so you can create tables. And please again go to your overleaf component. So this here, it basically also gives you an option for working. See, like sorry, not table of content. Where do I go? Mathematics. Tables. You see here, figures and tables. There you also have, like, much more options are basically given for creating different type of tables. You see, like more complex tables you can actually just create, or you see more complex can be tables can be created. You see, like, so it is possible. So I think it is actually much more fun if you start doing it. It's like kind of a programming thing, so you would like it, I'm sure. So please do it. I have just created a few of them for you. And then is actually the last part. I think there is infinite options and things that I can show you, but I didn't want to do everything in one shot. It will be too much. But the last thing I want to show you is basically something called itemize. That is where to put things in bullet. That's also, I think, Aditi, you were asking, no? So like here, when you want to do this so-called itemize or like bulleting things, you can basically put something called begin itemize and end itemize. And then you can, of course, display things in color, or if you don't want things in color, you don't put color. And then you can actually slash item, then item 1, item 2, item 3, like that. You can basically just add, and then you would basically just get a display like this. Yeah, so you can basically just show things like that. So this is how you do it. And then after this, if you type something, if I type something after this, it will basically just look normal like that. Yeah. So so this would also be like, adding some kind of a subsections while you are writing the thing. So you can basically just do this. Yeah. So I think this is quite a lot, and then you can also do this. Yes, please.
So sub items also exist or what? Like, can I put bullets inside bullets, or I mean, serial numbers inside them?
Also possible to put items within items is also possible.
Okay, so it will be there in the guide, right?
Yes. See, that is why I said, like, here I just want to show you a very simple document creation. And
Yes,
I share you this, and then you can basically use it as a simple creating document. And every possible things are actually just available in your overleaf. That's the best guide that you can use it.
So actually, we used it for making our CVs at some point.
Yes.
Like, there is a template for CV that we can edit and make.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. But for our context is basically to create articles. I will
Yes.
now move on to that article, which is generally given for different kind of publications, for different publishers. I'll just show you now. That's the main thing now. So now I have basically created. So what I am now going to ask you is basically you all prepare some document, which is containing some equation, some table, some figure, whatsoever, but create your own document and then just send it to me as an assignment. Yeah. So please make it like a 2-page document. So there you can type in a small summary of what we did today, or like, a small scientific paper or whatever, or you read a paper and then you can just make a summary of the paper or whatever you want. See, you can also, like, do this so-called header and footer. So you see, like, I have actually just something like a header line and some components in here that I have also just added above here in this so-called header package. You can see here I use a package here called fancy headers. Yeah. And within that fancy header package, I have actually just used some commands to add the top line. You can see here, I can even just change here to vary the width of the lines. So I use a 3-point line. You can see that would actually, oops, why is it not working? I have to, oops. Oh, maybe there is a limit. No, I don't know. 2 is working fine, I think. And ruler width. Yeah, okay, you can check. So here you can change the width of the line, and then here you can actually just the components within the left side of the header. Here I just added something called add some header. Then center, I have added nothing basically here. Let's add something like 000. And then on the right side, you can actually add something. So you see like here I've added 3 components in the header. Similarly, you can also add the lower foot. So that means the foot here. Also, you can add some components here on the left, middle, and right. So that is also like included here. Then you can, okay, I think here is the ruler. So something like 2. If I would change, then you would basically see, yeah, you can see like it is, the thickness is changing like that. But this is very simple header that I have added, but you can of course add more creative and like, more fancy headers by just using that guide. You can basically do it. Yeah. So that's basically this document. I think I'm finishing with this document. Now I will move on to a little complex one. That is the that is an article that we want to create for a journal. See, when you do that, see, I want to, for example, just write an article, let's say for American Chemical Society. So what I do is like, if I want to do that, what you have to do is you have to go to the home page of that particular journal group. And there, usually in the something called authors guideline or guidelines to authors or submit article, in this thing, they normally provide you something called manuscript templates. So here, if you go to JAX or to ACS in general, you will find the articles. Hello?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. See, actually, like my internet was like blinked for a second, so that's why it happened. So just let me go back again to what we were doing. Screen share. Yeah, I think we were here. Okay, so we were here. Yeah, so I think if you go to the corresponding journal group, sorry. Yeah, so journal group, they will give you the templates in the corresponding template thing. So here, for example, ACS, you can find it in that author's guideline. So if you click on this so-called article template, if you click on that, then you will be guided to a page like this, like this. And within that, you can see like, they give you like, acceptable file format, and also like text LaTeX formats are actually just given. So if you click there again, you will be again guided to something like this, and then finally to a page like this, and that would finally lead to a page here. So I have given all the links here, so you can directly click there, and then there you can basically download the so-called package or the so-called LaTeX article, the document class. This would be basically for ACS. So you can see that is actually known as American Chemical Society. That is what is ACHEMSO. And that document class is what they want us to use when you would create actually an article for any ACS journals. Yeah, that is what. So if you download here, then after doing this, I'm directly going to my folder where I've already downloaded this. So you would find that the ACHEMSO folder, there is actually a file like this written, ACHEMSO. Yeah. If you open that, it is going to look much more complex than what you have just seen. That is why I wanted to do it in stepwise. Okay. Yeah. you see that it's going to be an extremely more complex document. So there, for example, they have also started by adding a document class. Yeah, then they're using different type of packages for adding their headers, and then arrays like book tabs, math, then many different type of packages they are using. So you need all these packages. So directly you can use the so-called header of this file directly to start compiling the document. So that's the whole point. And then of course you can go through this. You please have a look. So for the interesting thing is, if you view the compiled file of that, it basically just give you this. Yeah, so even the PDF you can read all alone. So that is basically very useful. So they basically ask you to install a set of packages within your computer, so that you need to do, or when the compiler start running it, it will automatically prompt you to actually install those packages. So you can actually just do that. Yeah. And then once you do this, then you would basically just be asking you will be basically asked to write the details of the article and the particular file size. You can see for each different journal. So you can see here it's a list of journal. So this is, for example, accounts of chemical research, accounts of material research. Then you can see here journal of chemical education, journal of physical chemistry A, physical chemistry B, C, like that. There are many different type of journals available within the ACS, and all of them requires a different class. So this label actually represent the class or the type of format that each of the journals requires. Yeah. So you have to use this. So the point what I want to say is, like, you have to download the Akamso package in your computer. Then you can create the document, and while you create the document, depending on which journal that you want to work, you have to use one of this. Yeah. So I will open now a real document that I have created for ACS, and then I will show you how the whole thing look like. But this is of course a much more complex document where all details are given, so which I think you do not need. So they will help you in creating the manuscript file, and then creating the authors, the second author, their affiliation, their details, and so on. So all the commands are basically given here. So I am going to now open up a file which is easier for you, because I have created already a file for my paper. Yeah, so let's say like this is the thing. So here you can see I am going to write this article to JAX, let's say. Yeah. So then I have to define here the document class. You can see the general class of document is basically Akamso. You remember this was actually article when we have created something. But this is basically Akamso. That package should be downloaded on your computer, or if you do the first time, the compiler will directly prompt you to download that. So you should allow that, and you should download it. Once you do that, you can use this Akamso, because the Akamso will allow you to actually just like, do the select different journals. So here, for example, I have chosen a journal which is equal to JAX article. Yeah. So this is actually JAX article. So that's why this JAX at, and that is available in your, where was it? Sorry. You remember in this, it was available. You have to check here. So what I want to create, Journal of American Chemical Society. See, Journal of American Chemical Society. That is actually defined as JAX at. You see that? Yeah. So that is what I'm going to create. So therefore I have defined it's a journal is equal to JAX at, and the manuscript is like an article type, because JAX itself allows you to do something like an article, communication, review, different things. So each has different format. So this line is the most important, because that defines the type of article that you're going to make. Then you need to definitely like, use all these different type of packages. That packages will allow you to handle figures, headers, footers, like, size, all the manipulations within this Akemso will be allowed by these packages. Now, you know that normally when you write article, it is not just one author you have more authors, and you may actually have authors from different institutions. So you can actually do that. So like here, my first author is basically like, Khushbu Yadav. So you define that as author, then Khushbu Yadav. Then you have to also give the affiliation of that person, where that person is actually belonging to. So that is actually IIT Kanpur. Then I have another person. Hello? Someone ask a question? No, I think, yeah. Now you have the next author, who is actually Sayantan Mahabhadra, and this person has two addresses. He worked here in the beginning, and then now he actually moved to another place. So first affiliation is given here, and then alternate affiliation, that is this alt affiliation, can also be given within this. So like that, I have to add all the details of the authors. Then I can also add the email address of the authors, the phone number of the author, the fax number, many details I can actually add. So the interesting thing, now you can see that when you display, I have all the authors displayed here, and each of the authors have different kind of icons or whatever you call it, that defines where they're coming from. You can see like, everything with this asterisk are actually coming from Department of Chemistry, because that is this label, and then with the other label that shows that this person is actually right now in United States somewhere, and then the other label, see this one here, is actually representing that they are actually from other institute. So like that, you can basically add more and more authors inside, and then also the email address, the phone number, the fax, everything is added. Yeah. So then you can add the title. Yeah, so this you have also done in the previous case. Then you can actually add something called table of content that I will talk to you later. Then you can actually begin the document. You see, like that's it. So the most important difference here that we have done compared to the previous article is that we have actually defined a completely new document class, right? So that's the only difference here. Everything else is same as before. Yeah. So you have started the document, and somewhere at the very end you have to end the document. Then you again begin the abstract, then you end the abstract, and then you have a small content, and that is what is displayed here. You can see in the abstract page. Then the main article is starting, and that is what I have actually just added here as a main article. Here for this particular journal, I didn't have to add any sections. I did not add a section, but if I want to add a section, then I have to basically add section, then add introduction, yeah, and then you can compile. Okay, so there are some, blue means some kind of okay error, red means like big error, yeah, and then you can see it actually added the introduction as the first section. Yeah, then it started adding the document. So I basically typed a lot of details here. You can see I'm using different commands to like make things italics and display things. See here I have italics. If I want bold, whatever I want to do, I would basically use the same technique like we have learned in the previous document, and then you can create the documents. Yeah. So you keep creating the document. See, like I have something here called, A with some arrow on the top. So that actually is done by doing something like this. See, here I have an insert, and I have something called an over right arrow. Yeah. So if that would be left, over left arrow, then that particular arrow will display to the left side. You see this? So like that, I can create. I have a plus or minus here. So that is inserted as a plus or minus. Like that, you can put all the technical details, and you can make actually the figure. And you see, like I'm also adding some figures inside with the captions. So that is also something you can see here. I'm adding figures with the captions inside. I have many figures. So as you keep on adding the figure, You don't need to really define the number. This is the compiler will automatically take 1, 2, 3, 4 like that, depending on the sequential position of the figures that you add. So you can basically create. So I have bigger figures, bigger captions, like that. I have created the entire document. Yeah, so I have created the entire document, and then here I have a new subsection which is actually known as supporting information. That is a journal requirement. Yeah, so like I'll start a section here called supporting information. I start another section called acknowledgement. Like that, I can create the different sections. So that is depending on the journal requirement. The journal will ask you that they need the following sections and things like that. Now, at the very end, you see like I'm also adding references in this. I will show you that in a minute. I basically have added these references using something called JabRef. That's actually a program that you can download and add references in there. And then I only need to use a command here called /bibliography and then a file name. And that file name is basically this here, which is called as the JabRef. So JabRef is actually like a program that allows you to add references with the author's name, volume, details, all those things. So I'll just show you here. This is actually the JabRef file. So where I have added, for example, the details of a paper. So how can you do that? You can basically just go here and something called new bibliographic entry. So there you can actually define whether it's an article that you want to add. Then you can actually add the author name, the title name, the journal name, the year. Yeah. And then you can actually add the volume, pages, all the details you can add. Like generally, you can also add the URL of finding this article, abstract, everything you can add. And then you can also add something here called a bibliographic key. That is something you can add. For example, I have added for this particular paper, Gopakumar, I have added something called the bibliographic key is Gopakumar _08. So whenever I write my article, if I want to cite one of this article that is already published, you can see here, I have cited, you can see here, I have cited something called /cite Khushbu 18, and that Khushbu 18 is a journal article, and its citation is basically given in that JabRef file. So that JabRef file should also be in the working folder together with all the figures. Then while the compiler compile, this particular reference will be collected from the JabRef file, and it will basically be displayed here. So I have, of course, added these many references, like 41 different articles are cited. You can see here in between while I am writing, you see like Cite, Hensel 2006, Alemani. All these are like, keys that I have used in the other JabRef file. Here, this is the JabRef file. You can see I have actually added many articles in this. I have, of course, 108 articles. It doesn't matter. So the program, the compiler will only collect the relevant articles out of this, and that will basically be added within the article. So that's very handy to do it, because you don't need to worry about the positioning or whatever. Because if you sometime simply move a piece of text with the article above or below, like in Word and all, you actually just struggle because you have to know where the position is. But here you don't need to worry about that. You can basically add it directly, and then the program will compile that. Yeah. And then finally, I have something called a graphical table of content entry. So that is a journal requirement. And to add something like that, you can actually just do something here called begin TOC entry and end TOC entry. Yeah, so that's a table of content entry. And then it's also a graphic, because I'm just adding actually like the dimension of it, and then you can create that. Now, like that, you can basically create an article for a journal. And the main thing is about the header file. Now, you see how this thing is displayed. And also, you can basically see how the entire article is displayed. So now, for example, I'm just going to change this document class to another article, which is basically here called AAMICK. So that is actually another article, another journal, which is actually like, called ACS, what, Advanced Materials and Interface. So that's another journal. So if I would use that as the document class, then you would see that I can basically change the entire display. So then now if I would compile it, you see basically the entire article is now changed. You see the style is changed. Of course, in addition here, I also used actually like a command called two-column command. So then I can basically just display everything in a two-column command, in a two-column style. See this? And you can also see like this is also looking different. So like that, depending on the type of journal that you want to work with, you can basically like, create different document class, and then you can do that. So I have another one here called JPC letter. So this is JPC letter. Yeah, manuscript is equal to article, layout is equal to two-column, and it's again an Akemso document class. Within that, it is the JPC, Journal of Physical Chemistry letters. And then you see it also has a different display. So in this, you can see that the graphical entry is actually displayed in the front and not at the end. Yeah, and it also fits somehow to this box, because the box is something what the journal actually asks you to put the figure size. That is the allowed size, for example. Yeah? And then you can again create the document. So there is no huge difference between these different articles or different journals. There are minor differences, and that is what is actually added in this JPCL D, or in this JAX add, or in that AMIK and so on. So that you can actually find it in the Akemso document class. Well, that is basically it. And then finally, I want to tell you one more thing, that whenever you create an article, the final thing that you do after you create, the final thing that you do is also to make sure that the article that you have created is actually plagiarism free. That means you have not copy pasted this article from anywhere else. Because nowadays, after you compile this, you can now submit this journal, this article that I have created to a different type of publishers like ACS or Royal Society of Chemistry, or you can send it to AIP, American Institute of Physics, or you can send it to Wiley, wherever you like, depending on the type of the article. Then, important thing is that you have to basically ensure that the document that you have created is 100% your own. Yeah. So there are certain softwares that allows you to do this. I'll just show you quickly. So you might have heard about something called Turnitin and Authenticate. Yeah. Have you heard about that?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes, yes, yes. Very good. So, for example, Turnitin is a program that we have a license at IIT Kanpur. So, any document that you normally submit to a journal, so they actually run these documents through a program called Turnitin or Authenticate, or depending on the journal, and they will check how unique this article is. So that means you cannot copy paste things from anywhere. So this is also very, very important. So just to show you this finally, that I have basically just created this particular article that we were working on. This article that I have just created, this one, I have actually just put it into Turnitin just to show you how it looks like. Now the interesting thing what you find is, you will be surprised. See, this is the document. This, do you see here Tiruvanchiri Gopakumar paper? Karke? Hello? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So the simple thing is, you need to actually contact the CC, and then CC will give you a login to this particular program. And once you have the login, you can basically just upload your file and then do something called a similarity check. Now, the interesting thing, if you look at the article that I have created, and if you look at the similarity, it is actually 94%. Is it surprising? Yeah. Hello.
Yes.
Yeah, it is not good. If your article is actually something like 94% similarity, means your article is an absolute copy of something. Yeah. By the way, in my case, this particular article, the draft that I'm showing you, is already a published paper. So this now is the result of that similarity test, and they shows you that everything that is highlighted in red is actually a copy. Yeah. The reason is very simple. That paper is already published, and you can basically click here in this one, and then it will show you where it is actually found. So then they will show you that this particular thing is actually found in a publication. Yeah. And that publication is something I have already told you, which is something we know that we have published it. That's why the similarity check is showing like a 94% check. Yeah. But if I would show you another one. Hello. I think my screen sharing is gone. Yeah. So now I have also just added another article where you can see the similarity is just 40%. Yeah. That is an unpublished article which is about to be published, but we have created a first draft of it. And then that document, the Turnitin actually finds something like 40% similarity. Yeah. So that means you can see here there is some similarity, which is actually the similarity is for the names, the institute name. That is something you commonly expect, that is allowed. And the other part you can see here, this is looking normal and blank, which means there is no similarity for this part of the abstract, no similarity. The main content, there is no similarity. There are some words and sentences partly are similar with something, but that is no problem. But then when you go down, you see like most of the article is looking good. It is not similar to anything. But when you go to the reference section, you will find that is normally 100% similar to something else, which is also very common because references are the same for different articles, and then they will be kind of common. So therefore, you would find typically references of different articles are similar. So normally like a 40% is actually meaning that, you know, there is like, this is allowed by journal. So if the journal find that your article that you have submitted is like kind of 30 to 40% similar to something existing, then they will allow you. But if it is more than 50%, then they will actually return to you and then tell that your article is not authenticate because it actually has a lot of copy. Yeah. Then you will be asked to kind of like, you know, rewrite and things like that. And if it is more than 60-70%, the journal will not even accept your article for reviewing or publishing and things like that. So therefore it is also important that finally when you create a document, you also have to basically make sure that the article that you have created is genuine. It is not copy pasted from anywhere, and that way, like, you know, you can finally conclude that whatever you have written is actually correct. So the problem is like, you know, there is no strict rule still to stop this, but each institute has their own rule. If you are caught for doing plagiarism, so there are certain rules also that is existing in IIT Kanpur, and also for different universities is different, but this is not coming under our IPC and things like that. So, but of course there are copyright rules existing, so that each journal will have different policies, so that's somehow one need to have an idea. But in general, what is important is like whenever you create an article, you make sure that it is 100% your own. And nowadays it's a good idea that you basically kind of use these kind of programs to proof check whether your article is correct or not. Yeah. Well, that's what I wanted to tell you. I think in summary, what I have told you is to create an article or a research publication using a text compiler called Latex. I mean, Latex platform is much better than Word or other offices because it allows you to do a lot of flexibility. Therefore, I think in the future it would be nice if you start using it, and once you start using it, it's extremely simple. So like, and every day you can actually become a master because you would need a lot of information to basically create an article. Yeah. So only by doing that you can create good article, but once you do that, then the article would be excellent. I mean, the outcome of the article or the way the article is displayed, they would be much more fantastic than what you normally do it using Word and things like that. And all these compilers are free available, yeah, so you can easily download. I'll share the PPT where all these things are listed, so you can basically find it there, and you download, and then you can actually just start compiling using. So you just need to, every time when you run the compiler, depending on the document that you want to create, you might need to add more packages, and those packages need to be downloaded to your computer. So that's the only difficulty, but that's a one-time do. Once you do it, then it is very easy to do it. Yeah. Well, I think I have told you a lot of information. If you have some questions, please go on, or you may also ask questions later through email and things like that. So now back to you for questions. Back to you for questions, or are you all gone? Hello?
Sir,
Yeah.
hello. Sir, I just wanted to inform that right at the moment, my PC has certain technical issues that is being fixed. So I just have my phone. So I'll send you the doc once.
Yes,
Let it get.
yes. You can do it like within a week or 2 weeks. That's fine. You please send it to my personal email. So I will basically just add my personal email in the PDF in the PPT, and you please send me the document to my personal email, telling just a subject
Okay.
line 361 assignment. Yeah.
Okay.
I have to look at it. So everybody just asked to create their own document, 2 pages with maximum complexity. Yeah. Uh,
So can you repeat what's the assignment?
the assignment is very simple. You have to create a 2-page document with as much complexity as you can. Yeah, but I will already share you a folder with everything that we have worked today. So that already includes the basic document creations and the details. And then also the PDF file I will upload where you can find all the guides and place where you can download the LaTeX and all. Once you have everything in place, you create a 2-page document with as much complexity as you want. That's up to you. Yeah. Add equations, add colors, add tables, add figures, whatever. Add header, footers. Play with it. I mean, you would like it. I mean, it's like, writing a code or something like that. And then within 2 weeks time from today, you can actually just submit your assignments to my personal email. Yeah. So I will have a look at it. Please.
We have to submit only PDF file or a whole zip file with text code.
No. You can actually just give me your LaTeX, or you just give me a zip file so that I also know that you have created it by yourself. Yeah. Well, I mean, PDF should be fine. I mean, we trust each other. So, like, if you want, you can just finally give me the PDF file as well. Yeah. Yeah. More questions? Hello, more questions? Good. See, I think in this, the best way is basically you do it. That is why this assignment is there. So if you do it, you learn it, and if you have doubts, you can basically just post questions in the 361, or you even write an email to me directly. That is the best. Yeah. Good. I think with that, I'm ending the class. I'm going to post all the materials in the in 361 course page, and from there you can basically download all the details. Yeah. I think that will be somehow week 11 or something like that. I think I will add within today, so that will be like week 11 or something like that. And with there, you will find all the downloadable material. So you download everything, and then you can do it. Okay. So then with that, I'm thanking you, and I hope to see you soon sometime in the campus. Yeah. Stay very safe, healthy.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you very
Thank you
much.
so much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.